I have a feelings wheel. I have it all laminated because sometimes I don't have the vocabulary for my feelings. So I go there and look to pinpoint, okay, what is it I'm actually feeling, and work from there. Have you ever been told to just have more faith? To stop being so negative? Just be positive? And so you tried. I mean, genuinely tried. But no matter what you did, the feelings kept coming back. The anxiety, the doubt, the heaviness. And somewhere along the line, you probably started wondering, is something just wrong with me? Friend, nothing is wrong with you. But today I want to show you something that I think is going to bring you a lot of relief. Because there's a reason why healing has felt so hard. And it's probably not what you've heard before. So today I'm going to talk about how your mind works, what narcissistic abuse quietly did to it, and where real healing needs to begin. So grab your journal and pen. Let's dive in. Do you want to heal from narcissistic abuse, but you struggle with self-doubt and second-guessing everything? If so, you're in the right place. I'm Takia, mom, coach, and your survivor friend. Here we mix faith, real talk, and practical tools to restore confidence and self-worth. So if you're ready to rebuild your confidence and finally feel at peace, take a deep breath. Exhale now. Let's heal for real. Before we get into today's episode, I want to share something with you. I didn't know what was happening to me at first while I was in the situation. I just knew I didn't feel like myself anymore. But it wasn't until I got out that I felt the full weight of it. I felt like a shell of myself. I used to be confident, driven, full of dreams and direction. And now, I was second-guessing everything, overthinking simple decisions, constantly needing reassurance just to feel okay about what I chose. And underneath all of that were these constant questions. What is wrong with me? Will I ever feel like myself again? I wanted my confidence back so badly, so I tried really hard. I prayed, I declared scriptures and positive affirmations over myself. I would literally try to talk myself into feeling confident again. And sometimes it worked for a little while. But then something would happen. A conversation, a decision, a situation I had to face, and that sinking feeling would come right back. Questioning myself, doubting what I had just said, what I had just decided, feeling unsure all over again. And that's the part that really got to me, because it felt like I was doing everything I was supposed to do, but still ending up in the same cycle. Like nothing was actually changing. And if that's where you are, I want to invite you to something I'm hosting. It's a free live workshop called Restore Your Confidence After Narcissistic Abuse. And it's happening on Tuesday, May the 26th. It's specifically for women who are healing from narcissistic abuse and are tired of doing everything they know how to do, but still end up second-guessing themselves. You can register now at www.growingthroughpains.com/workshop. That's www.growingthroughpains.com/workshop. And I'll also link it in the show notes below. For a long time, and I mean a long time, I genuinely believed that I was a problem. Not in a small passing way, but deeply believed this thing. I blamed myself for everything that had happened. I thought if I were better, more grateful, more accommodating, less selfish, less sensitive, if I could just get it together, maybe things would have been different. Maybe I wouldn't feel the way I felt. I was sad a lot. Sometimes I felt hopeless. It felt like I was so far gone and there was no coming back. Like something was just so fundamentally wrong with me that no amount of prayer or trying was going to fix me. But I kept trying to fix how I felt, trying to force myself to be more positive. And it would help for a while, but I always ended up right back in the same place. Same thoughts, same feelings, same cycle. And about 4 years ago, I was introduced to the Center for Common Sense Psychology. And I mean, when I tell you life changing, that thing has been so instrumental in the trajectory of my life since then. I experienced a shift that I had never experienced with anything that I tried. Because for the first time, I was not being told, oh, just change your behavior, manage your emotions, push through. I was being shown something about how the mind actually works. What I discovered was that I had quietly, without realizing it, accepted and internalized negative thoughts and labels about myself. Things that had been said to me, implied, demonstrated through how I was treated. I had taken all of it in, and it became the lens through which I was seeing myself and life. And quietly, those beliefs were running everything. My outlook, my choices, the way that I showed up, what I believed that I deserved. And having the understanding that I got from the whole common sense psychology, oh my goodness, I was hopeful again, like, oh wow, there is a way out of what I have been experiencing. And today I want to share that with you. Now, when you experience narcissistic abuse, it's not something that is just hurtful. What the narcissist did through their words, through their actions, their silence, the way that they treated you, was plant seeds, little seeds. And trust me, you didn't even notice most of them going in. Things like, you're too sensitive. You're always overreacting. You get too excited. Why can't you just be more grateful? Nobody's going to believe you. You're lucky anybody puts up with you. You will never find somebody like me. Or little snide remarks like, I can't do anything right according to you. And then there were the things that they didn't say, but communicated just as loud and clearly through the silent treatment, the eye rolls, the tones, the way that they would just check out when you needed them, the way that you would bring up something and suddenly you were the one apologizing for something that you did decades ago when they were not even in the picture. The way that they would say, oh, nothing is wrong. Well, the energy in the room is telling you something completely different. And you learn to doubt what you were sensing. All of these were the seeds. And seeds seem small. They don't look like much when they first go in, right? But they get watered by repetition over time. By the confusion of being in an environment with somebody who's also hurting you. And slowly, quietly, these seeds take root in your thoughts. I am too much. I'm not enough. Something's wrong with me. I'm crazy. I'm a problem. And here's the part that makes it so hard to see. Because you can't see thoughts, right? But those thoughts, repeated over and over, reinforced, become beliefs. Not the loud, obvious beliefs that you can easily point to, but quiet ones. The kind that run underneath everything without announcing themselves. So you're not even able to identify them as thoughts that somebody else planted. You just live your life in a way as though these things were true, as if that's just who you are. And your self-worth, your confidence, your ability to trust yourself, everything is filtered through the lens of those implanted beliefs. The lens that you never chose and never consciously agreed to. But that is what narcissistic abuse does to your thinking. And here's what most of us do. And honestly, I did this too. And I have to be conscious not to continue repeating it. Something comes up, a negative or uncomfortable emotion, anxiety, sadness. That sinking feeling of, not being enough. You just try to pray it away. You try to push it away. Flip it into something more positive because, I shouldn't feel like this. I need to stop feeling what I'm feeling. And then on top of the feeling itself, shame kicks in. Because now you feel bad for feeling bad. And you think, oh my goodness, I should be over this. But no, I should have more faith than this. God is probably disappointed in me. Why can't I just get it together? And shame makes the whole thing even heavier. But I want us to take a look at Proverbs 23 verse 7. It says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Not as a man feels. As a man thinks. God designed us. He designed our brains, our mental faculties. So when he's addressing the issue, he goes straight to the thinking, not the feeling, because he knows the order of how things work. Thoughts influence feelings. Feelings influence actions and behaviors. And that's always the sequence, always. So when there's a quiet belief running in the background, I'm too much, I'm crazy, something's wrong with me, it's going to keep producing feelings that match it. When we try to only address the feelings without touching the beliefs underneath, the feeling keeps coming back because essentially we are trimming branches on a tree with poison roots. And then it becomes a loop. The feeling comes, we feel ashamed of the feeling, we try to suppress it or fix it, and the feeling starts to feel like evidence, like proof that the belief is actually true. And then that evidence, quote unquote, feeds the belief even more, which produces more of the same feelings, round and round and round. And listen, that is not a character flaw. That is not a weak faith. That is what happens when the root has not yet been addressed. And that's why in Romans 12:2, it says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Not the renewing of your feelings, not the renewing of your behavior, your mind. God always starts at the root because he knows when the thinking, the belief system shifts, everything else shifts with it. So practically, where do you start? Because understanding this is one thing, but knowing what to do with it is another. And you can start with what you can always identify. That's the feeling. You may not be always able to catch a thought in the moment, and that's completely fine because you're not starting there. So when the feeling shows up, maybe it's anxiety, sadness, sudden shame, you feel like shrinking away. And just to insert here, this will be a really good time to check out a feelings wheel. Listen, I have no shame. I have a feelings wheel. I have it all laminated because sometimes I don't have the vocabulary for my feelings. So I go there and look to pinpoint, okay, what is it I'm actually feeling, and work from there. So I would suggest everybody just look for a feelings wheel. So when the feelings come up, when the things come up, instead of rushing to push the emotions away, get curious. Allow yourself to be curious. Slow down and ask, okay, so what was happening right before I felt this? What was I telling myself in the moment? Does this feeling remind me of something? Have I felt this before? What was he thinking surrounding it? And where do I think this belief is coming from? But this is key. You're not trying to unravel everything all at once. You're just starting to try to follow the trail because feelings leave a trail. And that trail always leads back to a thought. And that thought leads back to a seed belief that was planted, whether by words, by treatment, by years of being told who you were by someone who had absolutely no right to define you. And when you find the root, that's where the real work begins. The Bible calls that renewing. And what it looks like is to keep deliberately choosing a true thought in place of a planted one again and again, consistently with God's word as foundation. Not once and done, but repetitively. It's building a new path. Science calls it neuroplasticity. And before I let you go, I just want to tell you, you are not too sensitive. You're not a problem. Your feelings have made complete sense this entire time, given what was planted, and you're thinking without your permission. The issue was never you. It was the lens through which you were looking. And now you know where the lens came from and how to start changing it. And that's not small. So I want you to journal. Ask God to start showing you what are the beliefs that are hiding. He's not going to leave you to figure it out alone. He says, call on to me and I will answer you and I will show you great and mighty things you don't know. I'm going to show you those hidden things. He promised to renew and he's faithful to everything that he promises. And listen, today talks about how beliefs get planted and how they quietly run everything, including how you feel about yourself, including your confidence. And I know for so many, that hurts a lot. You're on your journey. You're growing in various areas. But still you lack confidence. It doesn't stick. Something happens and it comes crashing down. And you don't understand why, because you're doing everything right. But I want to show you exactly why that keeps happening. There's something underneath the confidence struggle that most people miss completely. So on Tuesday, May 26th, in my free live workshop, Restore Your Confidence After Narcissistic Abuse, I'm going to be showing you the exact thing that many miss. And it connects directly to what we talked about today. And I genuinely believe that when you hear it, something's going to shift for you just like it did for me. Now, this workshop is free, it's live, and I want you to be in the room with me. So go and save your seat right now at www.growingthroughpains.com/workshop. That is www.growingthroughpains.com/workshop. I'm also going to link in the show notes below. So be sure to save your seat before it is too late. Hey friends, I hope today's episode taught you something or gave you a boost. If it did, would you take a couple seconds and share it with someone who's ready to heal from narcissistic abuse? And while you're at it, would you please leave me a quick review on Apple Podcasts? It really thrills me to know that other women are being helped. Now go ahead, stretch or grab that snack. I'll see you in our next episode.